Gateway Gamers podcast.
Hello, welcome to Gateway Gamers Podcast. My name is Bryan. How are you doing today? Some of you know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and while board games are usually celebrated for their ability to bring people together, today I just want to flip the script a bit, because sometimes healing happens when you play alone, just like when you record an episode alone, because your co-host is out in California, gallivanting around, going to the movies, even out in California to see the Thunderbolts, and leaves his best friend and co-host behind. But I digress. Solo board gaming isn't about just killing time. It's about making space for yourself, space to breathe, to reset, and quiet that noise in your head. As a teacher, I have days where my social battery is dead. My thoughts are spiraling, and the last thing I want to do is talk to somebody. But I still need something to do, something to anchor me, something to move my energy that I kind of have towards something. And that's where solo games come in for me. They're not just games, they're rituals, they're mindfulness, and they're a bit of my therapy that come in a box. The first game that I really want to talk about is a Gentle Rain. Gentle Rain is a solo tile-laying game. The setup is beautifully minimal. You have a stack of lake tiles, 8 flower tokens, and each one's a different type of balloon painted in watercolor art. The goal is that you're placing these tiles to form matches, and when 4 matching petals surround the center point, a flower blossoms there. So all you're doing is on your turn, you're drawing a tile. Each one is a quarter circle with 4 petal edges, each side with one of 8 different flower types. You place that tile so it's touching the edge, matching the petal it's adjacent to, so same color petal. You want to match the blue petal with the blue petal, kind of like that. If placing a tile completes a 4-sided match, a full circle of petals, you immediately place a corresponding flower token into that space. The game ends when either all the tiles are used or all 8 flower tokens have bloomed. I've never done that, but it's still an enjoyable game. Your score is just the number of flowers you placed, but honestly, it's not a game where I'm too focused on points and trying to make those flower blooms. It's a no-lose game, just the satisfaction of things falling into place. It's a really nice game. It's not demanding. You don't want to rush through it. And you're not going to really punish yourself for messing up or being wrong. It just asks you to kind of pause, draw a tile to see where it fits, and in that moment, you just narrow in and just focus on the colors, the shapes, and the calm that you're kind of present with the game. And that works because a lot of my burnout from the day, decision-making fatigue from just kind of helping kids all day, it's a game that really just relaxes me. It's a quiet walk. I don't need a lot of strategy. I don't need a lot of planning ahead. I'm just kind of focusing on it one turn at a time. I've played a Gentle Rain a bunch of times at this point. It's just one of those games that, like I said, just kind of quick to set up, quick to play. It just really works for what it is. It's not a game that, like I said, I play to win. It's a game I just sit and breathe with. I just enjoy my coffee in the morning. I'll set it up, or like I said, at the end of the day, I'll just kind of set it up, and it takes less than a minute to set up. It takes maybe 5 minutes to play, and it's just nice. It's just nice to be there. Another game that I enjoy with my coffee, another game that really doesn't demand much of me, it's Finding Calm from Rabble Games, designed by clinical psychologist Dr. Sylvie Guerra. In Finding Calm, you're laying out a 5x3 grid of 15 illustrated oracle cards. Each one has an interaction. Maybe it flips itself or it flips another one of its neighbors. It'll just be like, if it touches the sun, if one card touches the sun, flip it face down, or if it flips all cards in a row or all cards in a column. You go card by card in the order you choose, resolving each interaction, slowly transforming the layout in front of you. Your goal is to just finish with one card facing up, and that card becomes your takeaway, your reflective message. Because with that, you also have a giant book, and it's just where that card is placed in the book. It kind of gives you a message of what you want to do. It influences your day. It just kind of makes you reflect, maybe give something up, maybe show appreciation to someone. It's pushing you toward an outcome instead of like giving a score. It's definitely one of the most mindful games I've kind of played. It doesn't feel like I'm playing a game as much as kind of a ritual. Like I said, this is another one where I'll just kind of sit with my coffee in the morning when I have time and just set it up real quick. It's almost like a tarot deck in a sense, without a reader. You're just kind of moving things around. and it plays for about 10 to 15 minutes, but it lingers with you throughout the day. It lingers that it gives you something deeper to think about. It kind of gives you a goal for the day or something to reflect upon. So it's, even though it's 10, 15 minutes activity, it's something you carry with you throughout the day if you wanted to. The game's good because it also comes with like sealed envelopes that you unlock as you kind of go. So even as you're playing, you are unlocking more cards, unlocking more thoughtful ideas. It's not going to be for everyone. It's definitely something a little abstract. It's a little, I don't even want to say crunchy, but like the idea of a tarot deck and then it giving you like a reset of your brain and having to think inwardly. It might not be for everybody. There's definitely some days where it tells me to be mindful of this or to whatever, and I'm just like, okay, I don't know what that means. But days where it like tells me to connect with somebody or apologize for something I've done, like I definitely go, okay, like that's something to strive for today, something I could do. So it's a nice game to slow down, think, reflect upon myself. It's not demanding. It's just a nice activity that will definitely stick on my shelf. As we continue on with some of these games for Mental Health Awareness Month that I'm kind of highlighting, I want to spotlight a game that's a little unusual. It's not traditionally relaxing. It's about solving crimes. But for me, it's one of the more meditative games I've kind of played that you can play solo. It's called MicroMacro Crime City, and it's basically Where's Waldo. If you've played Where's Waldo as a kid, I used to get these books from the library all the time. You open them up. Waldo is that red and white candy cane striped guy with the hat. You have to find him in this giant picture of busyness. And that's essentially what this is. When you open up the box, you're instantly given a giant black and white city map covered in tiny cartoon characters and buildings. It's super chaotic, but it's also a living, breathing place, and it's a puzzle. So in the game, you're basically drawing a case card. It might say something like, find out who stole the necklace from the museum. From there, you begin tracing the suspect's movements, sometimes forward, backwards. You spot little cartoon figures repeat across the map. One step shows them go into a shop. The next will show them running. The next show them with the theft in progress. Each case is a breadcrumb traum, and you're reconstructing stories with your eyes. No dice, no tokens, no timers, just a map and a really neat little magnifying glass that you're kind of using to look for these clues and look for things. It's all about paying attention, seeing patterns, following small visual clues across a massive space. It slows you down. It forces you to really look at things, which is something that I need to work on sometimes. Sometimes, as I said, I'm burnt out. I come home and I need to decompress. My mind, my anxiety, and energy is at a spike from working with kids all day. And sometimes I just need to narrow that down. And this is it. It's strangely meditative. I start to breathe slower. I shift into this calm detective mode where nothing else matters except for finding this mystery and these clues. This is a game I played on rainy mornings, again, with a cup of coffee. I think the theme is games that I play coffee with. That's what should be the title. But I've played it sprawled out living room floor when I just need to unplug from noise. And it's just a very engaging and calming game. I think the art style really helps. It's this whimsical art style. It's like a comic strip more than an actual like crime scene. I think that it being black and white, I think, is really helpful. It's not overly loud, and it just wants your attention. You're not being scored. You're not racing against the clock. You can play at your own pace, one case at a time. It's just a really nice game that isn't demanding your attention, and it's on your terms. You're just kind of like, all right, like I'm gonna dive into this now. And this is going to be my focus. And now for another very weird one. Final Girl. If you know what Final Girl is, you're probably thinking, this is a horror game where you are racing against a slasher villain. How can this be calming? Well, here's why. The gameplay itself is, again, you need to focus. You need to plan and strategize. It's not running around. It's careful planning and movement. The turn structure really has your survivor deciding on what's next. The pacing is at your say, and I think that's the key. It's just like, all right, like you're kind of planning ahead and you are going against the stakes. Final Girl, if you don't know, is, as is movie terms, a final girl. So this is a box with multiple expansions, kind of not mocking, but homaging different archetypes in different movies. So there's like a Freddy Krueger one, there's a Jason one, there's Alien, there's The Thing, and it's all these different scenarios, and you're playing what's the final girl, who is the female survivor through everything. And you're kind of just drawing cards and you're planning ahead of how to save your friends or how to do things. Each box is a different type of puzzle where you're outsmarting the slasher, you're using strategy and a lot of luck to survive because there is some dice rolling. And while it's aggressive and high stakes, there is a catharsis in dealing with it. You can channel all that energy again that you have, and you can be productive. You're not just surviving to survive, you're crafting your path to victory. You're thinking through each step and each move, and the tension is there, and you can focus it to survive a bit. This is a bit more outside the box of calming. I've lost this game plenty more than I've won, but I'm never frustrated. Like I sometimes get with these solo games that are too hard, because there's just something about it where it's like, all right, I'm not always going to survive a horror movie. Like I would have no chance if I was this person. So kind of putting myself in these dangerous situations that aren't dangerous at all, but enacting it is like a nice way to keep calm. Almost like a roller coaster. Roller coaster builds up your adrenaline, and you're safe, but it's something exciting, and that's kind of how this game is. It's not dramatic like that, but it's just something where I can focus and get through the situation by myself by playing. It's a perfect balance of tension and release and a sense of accomplishment after I am able to beat the game. So yeah, Final Girl's an odd one for my relaxation, but it's a choice that works for me. To focus, a strategy, and release, and I guess being able to pretend I'm attacking and hitting things after a long day of dealing with things that I can't hit. Not that I want to, but just saying. So it's a nice reset button after an intense day to kind of add more intensity. Finally, one of the last things I want to talk about that only recently I kind of discovered, Dungeons & Dragons. So Dungeons & Dragons was always something that I was interested in, never really knew how to get it started, even though it's honestly pretty easy once you kind of figure it out. But the creativity aspect of Dungeons & Dragons was a calming thing that I did not expect. So there's another one where you are, in theory, attacking and moving with a group and whatever, but the act of creating the scenarios and preparing, creating characters, and when I created a storyline for my friends, I got creative and I created real life journals and paper, and I love being creative and I love being able to show off my creativity a bit, so this was perfect. I think I worked for like a month on this. I created a whole journal, and the journal set up clues, and I didn't make a language, but I made little keys for different languages. I looked up different like Fey language online and created like just little clues in the booklet, and it was really like calming and really nice for me to, again, after work of being stressed out, to come home and be like, all right, I'm going to work on this journal for a while. And just, it wasn't a real journal, but it almost felt like I was journaling for myself. And creating characters is just as fun. My friends love D&D, but the day one of creating their own characters can be time consuming, so they kind of give me the basic of what they want their character to be, And then I go through the book and I create their character for them to a degree. I supply them with everything they need, and it's very calming for me. I enjoy going through the book and creating the character and giving it what spells I think they'll need, and just going back and forth between sometimes 3, 4, 5 books that I have just to create a perfect character, what I think is a perfect character, is just extremely calming and nice to kind of just do. So that's kind of it for today's episode. So whether you're rolling dice in D&D or dodging a slasher in Final Girl, remember that gaming can be and should be a mindful experience even when the theme can get a bit intense. It's all about taking time for yourself, to immerse yourself, to focus, and find that slice of calm amidst the chaos. So I really hope today's episode gave you some new ways to think about gaming, whether it's solo or with a group. If you enjoyed what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, share this episode with a friend who could use a little calm in their life, and also feel free to reach out with your thoughts, questions, or game suggestions. And until next time, may the dice be ever in your favor, and your gaming sessions bring you peace and purpose. Thank you for tuning into the Gateway Gamers podcast. Stay mindful, game on, and I'll catch you in the next one. And you go card by card in that order. And you go card by card. Jesus. And you go card by card. Why do I...